Yo, this is your favorite friendly neighborhood Toronto, and today we're going to talk about the Xbox Project Lockhart and the hypocritical Xbox fanboys. And yes, I'm talking about the Xbox fanboys, not the Xbox fans, because again, I mess with y'all. So recently, there's been some specs that were released on the Lockhart, and I'm just going to list them over quickly for you guys. So in that leak, it was saying that the Lockhart is going to be 7.5 gigabytes of usable RAM, and that's going to be down from the 13.5 gigabytes that's on the Series X. And then the Project Lockhart is also going to have 4 teraflops, which is down from the 12 teraflops that's on the Series X. Hell, that's even down from the 6 teraflops that's on the One X. But I'm going to get more into that in a little bit later. But most importantly, the Lockhart is still going to run the same games that are available on the Series X, and that is because it keeps the CPU, the storage option in the SSD, along with the velocity architecture that manages the flow of the data throughout the system the same. So this is actually where you're going to see the true enhancements from last gen to this gen on both the Xbox Series X and the PS5, where again it's in the CPU, the SSD, and the architectures that both these systems are now implementing. The graphics are obviously going to always increase because there is a byproduct of these technological advancements. Again, I will get more into that one in a little bit later. But more specifically, I just want to hone in and then just direct all of this energy to the hypocrites that are out there. And I'm talking about the hypocritical Xbox fanboys, because even when you guys have the facts right in front of you, you guys are always moving the goalposts to always change the argument to kind of fit what the narrative that you guys are trying to go with. So now that you guys wanted to always talk about the 12 teraflops to the 10.3 teraflops, and somehow that 10.3 teraflops made the PS5 complete crap, even though it's just lesser than the 12 teraflops, whatever. Because those same people that I heard barking about that 10.3 teraflops is trash are somehow now touting this 4 teraflop machine as the next greatest thing in the world because it's also going to be cheap. Now, how does that make any sense? To me, I know that the 4 teraflops, that is less than the 6 teraflops on the One X, is not just what those numbers are trying to tell you. The 4 teraflops is actually more capable than the 6 teraflops that is on the One X, because the Lockhart is implementing a newer Zen 2 architecture, which changes the way the whole system operates. Again, you won't be able to tell that just from the numbers. Again, the teraflops is just a measurement in a complex system. So other things do matter, and you have to take context into consideration. Like, if we're here to look at the differences that Xbox themselves have implemented in the Lockhart from the Series X, you're going to see the thing that they thought that needed to change was the GPU, because that there could be a moving target. That doesn't change what next gen is going to actually do for the system. What it does do is more so amplify the fact that the SSD, the CPU, the velocity architecture are the more important things when it comes to the design of the games. Not the look of the games, the design of the games. Because let's just say they went and they wanted to change the specs for the Lockhart, but kept the GPU the same, but then they changed the CPU, they changed the RAM, and they changed the SSD back to the regular hard drive disk memory storage. Those games that were on the Series X would not be able to be played on the Lockhart, because the design of those games, when it comes to the calculation of the CPU and even the management of how these textures are loaded into the system, they wouldn't be able to keep up. Now, I don't know how much more clearer you guys need to see that the GPU isn't the end all be all. Of course, power matters, and for certain games you're going to want to have the higher graphical fidelity, but the argument that you guys present is that it's the end all be all. It's just not that. I don't know how much times I have to hammer that home, but it's not. So this just makes me question, how does Xbox now market the Lockhart if it's no longer the most powerful or the fastest console on the market? Because they're going to have to find a way to do that without undercutting the messaging that they have for the Series X, which is just pushing the power and the fastest console on the market. And I also, as much as I love Phil Spencer, it is just laughable that they're going to be now talking about the immersion and pushing immersion, but that's just visual immersion. When I'm here talking about the DualSense and the features that is bringing in when it comes to the DualSense, the resistive adaptive triggers, everybody's looking at, oh, it doesn't mean that much, but these are all different senses that need to be triggered so you could start feeling immersed and feeling like you're a part of the game world. That's why there's such an emphasis on the 3D audio with the Tempest engine, and why they put so much emphasis on these new features that are in the DualSense. Almost said DualShock there. But it's just a very tricky thing that Xbox now has to manage when it comes to the marketing of the Xbox Lockhart. I'm going to be very intrigued to see how that works. But another thing I just want to bring in is why a lot of people are honing in that somehow the Lockhart is the kryptonite to the PS5. I'm just sitting here like, how does that even make any sense? Because all I keep hearing is that, well, it's going to be a lower price. They're going to have the, like, how could you not say yes to a $300 system? Well, it's not. I mean, it really isn't. Because if it was, then you Xbox fanboys already kind of have something down there in your pockets, and that is the Xbox One S and the One S All Digital Edition. And even on the PlayStation side, they could get used PS3s and PS4s because you could get them for cheap and on the low. But it's not just the fact that it's a lower price. There's more that it's just a factor that's in the complex formula for trying to sell these systems. And again, just because it's cheaper, you also have to make sure that you're presenting value with the features that you have there. To me, it's nice that they still have the SSD and the architecture in there. And personally, I don't think that the 4 teraflops is a bad thing. If you're getting games that are 1440 or 1080p, for most people who still don't even have 4K TVs, that's going to be perfect for them, and they're still going to be able to jump into the ecosystem. My point is that the argument that you guys have been presenting, as in power is everything, what do you have to say now that there is such a lesser powerful system in the Lockhart, but that is what you guys are touting as the kryptonite that's going to break the heel of the PS5? I mean, at this point, it's just laughable. I just don't understand how any of that makes sense. If anybody has answers, please let me know. And actually, before I do forget, in the RAM that's also lower, that's not such a bad issue, because if the Lockhart is only targeting 1440p or 1080p, they're gonna have lower assets, and they're not going to need as much RAM to get these games running. So that's why I didn't really put too much emphasis on it. To me, it's going to be pretty much the same thing. The big thing here is the 4 teraflops that I personally don't see as a big issue, but it is kind of funny, again, for you Xbox fanboys who just keep saying that power is everything, power matters, but turn around and be like, yes, Xbox Lockhart 4 teraflops. Yes, that is 6 teraflops lower than the PlayStation 5 digital edition, but who cares? But then turn around and be like, yeah, the Series X is the best because it's power. And then somebody brings up the SSD and you're like, yo, what does the SSD matter? Is that going to make my game look better? Oh, yeah, that's my game's going to load. But it's more than the loading. It's the design of these games. That's where it matters. Is that the design of these games are going to be completely altered by things like the IO throughput, the SSD, the architecture, the CPU, the available RAM that they have. The graphics and the GPU is only going to change the shininess of that game, not the design. So once you guys get that through your thick skulls, then maybe we can have an intelligent conversation. Again, just coming from a game dev student who understands kind of how the thought process works behind the developing of the games. So I'm just going to end this video right here. We're probably getting around that 10-minute mark. This video is getting a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. So if you guys could just let me know what you think about the Lockhart being the PS5's kryptonite, or do you think that too much stock is being put on just having a cheaper console, because like I said, if it was, would that mean people should just get a PS3 or PS4 because it is cheaper, or is there more to the formula than just a cheaper price? Anyways, thank you for those who made it through to the end of this video. Please share, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of the new videos that get posted. It really does help in helping me grow this channel. I know I say it all the time, but it really does. I'm this here trying to get myself to at least 100 subscribers right now so I could get a custom URL. But I'll have all the details where you could follow everything Toronto in the description. That's everything for now. So it's not bye. Bye. See you later on the next one. And I'm out.